Hello, welcome. If you've joined us before, I am Robin Sachs, and my partner in crime here is Lindsay House. We are two coaches who are bringing you some success talk and free coaching. Let's just face it, it's free coaching sessions uh, that we're calling the ABCs of Success for 2022. And all year we have gone through LinkedIn Live by LinkedIn Live, letter by letter of the alphabet, to bring you each week a topic or topics based on that letter that we're on that will help you and maybe give you some tools, some tips, some thoughts, some perspective shifts, some mindset shifts, some ways to make your 2022 continue to be the best year ever. And today we are on the letter T. Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
Hi, Robin. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers once again.
Yes.
All right. So we are on T today. And it's interesting because some letters we say, oh, well, that was easy. Others we go, that was a little more difficult. But then as soon as we start talking, we're like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. So I guess the lesson in that is there's always good stuff everywhere. It's just a matter of kind of taking a moment and looking for it.
Always. It was funny. I was sitting with my youngest in the doctor's office this morning, and she was like, what are you two going to do for X and Z? I'm like, I don't know. We shall see. Yes. And if our listeners have any good thoughts on that, we'll figure it out, but we'd love your input.
Excellent. All right. Does excellent count? No, it's an E. Never mind. It's
maybe we go slang on some stuff,
We'll see. We'll get it done. I have total faith in us. All right. So Lindsay, with T, you know what? I'm going to, as we're coming into November here in another few days, you know what? Let's start with one. I'm going to toss it to you. Let's start with thankful as our first T.
Yes, man, the month of Thanksgiving, right? And what if we all woke up and the first things out of our mouth or the first thoughts that we put down on paper were of Thanksgivings, of the things that we are thankful for. I know a lot of individuals work through gratitude journals. So call it what you want to, but the fact of the matter is that when we start with thanks, it's really hard to be thankful and also, or positive, negative, all in the same moment. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to fill brain space, fill those moments with thankfulness so that the other negative thoughts that want to creep in there struggle a little more. It's not perfect. It just helps. And one of the coolest things I heard one time, it was out of a book, and now I'm going to blank on the title, but it was the author. He and his wife were on the verge of divorce. They were there, like already talking about grabbing lawyers. And he decided on Thanksgiving that he was going to, for 1 year until the next Thanksgiving, find one quality out of his wife every day that he was extremely thankful for. Sorry, putting my dog down. And it was hard in the beginning. It could be like as simple as, I like what she cooked tonight. And then what he found as the year went on, it was flowing easier. And then it was almost hard to stop at one. And truly by the end of this year, he was like, we were back to a married, healthy couple. And that has never left my head, because I think of that, maybe not even in marriage for some of us, but with friends, with our kids, with our health. If we started with what we are thankful for, I'm thankful that my legs carry me, that I can walk, that my arms hold my children, that again, if we start there, it's harder to shift to that other side, but it's a practice technique again. So I know I'm kind of long-winded on that. Do you hold any thankful practices, Robin?
So it's funny because I love you mentioned, gratitude journal and writing things down or just starting the day off with that. One of the things that I work a lot with clients and consulting and stuff is really surrounded around self-talk. Mm-hmm. And it's, you're talking about, what can you be grateful for or thankful for in others? Let's take the other side of that too. What is it you can be thankful for in yourself? Yeah. Right. And you use a couple examples with, our bodies, right? My legs can carry, well, we're so quick to judge. Oh, my thighs are too big. Oh, I don't like that about me. Oh, look at this and what's happened. And we're so critical. We're so quick to judge ourselves.
Yeah.
And it sounds almost silly or too simple when you say it. But when you start to do it and remind yourself that, you know what, this is me and could I be healthier? Sure. But am I healthy enough to do a lot of things? Yes.
Mhm.
Right. Oh, my thighs are too big, but did they get me up and walk me around and get everything done in the day I need to get done? Yes. So to be able to not even just go all the way to one extreme or the other, but learn to balance things out. Are there things we might be critical of in ourselves and other people? Sure. So it's not that it's good or bad. Of course, it's not nice or helpful often, right, to be doing that all the time. But remind yourself then, yes, and here's the other side of it too, right? Because there's always a reason people are behaving the way they are. There's always a reason we're doing the things we are. And so there's usually that other side of it. And if you can remind yourself of both sides of the equation, it becomes a little easier to find the things to be grateful for or thankful for. And,
Yes.
it's what's the old saying? I don't know who to attribute it to, but if we all threw all of our problems in a huge pile and then walked up and looked at everyone's problems, we'd often grab our own back because we love to complain and see what's going wrong and what we don't like and what we're critical of and how everybody bothers us and blah, 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 right? But then when you actually put it in the big picture context, you're like, okay, that's not so bad. I'll take that.
Interesting. I've never heard that before, and I really like it. Yeah.
And I want to say it was one of the Stoics, one of the old, but it's, you stop and think about, if you kind of look at things to be grateful for, you'll find them everywhere because we go where our attention goes.
Yeah.
And because our self-talk default, no judgment, just awareness, your self-talk default is going to be critical. It's going to look for what's going wrong. That's goes back to caveman days, right? What's going wrong? I need to be prepared. I need to be ready. And so we're always kind of on that edge of looking for what could go wrong so we could try and head it off before it does. But that puts us in a really bad habit of looking at everything that way. What are they doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Right? What's going to mess up? What's not going well? So when you start to, and you, like you said, Lindsay, this has to be so intentional and deliberate, whether it's in the morning, whether it's before you go to sleep, whether it's if you find 30 seconds in your day somewhere, stop and make yourself go, what's going right today? What am I grateful for? Right? And if you do something like a gratitude journal, if you just, open up a doc on your computer, it doesn't matter where you do it, but brain dump it all out. And you'll be amazed at how when you get it all out of your head, you can find a lot of things that are going okay and that you can be grateful for. And you can find things that you're not happy about. But when you get it out of your head, it's usually a lot less than when it's in your head. Because in our heads, we up always. So thankful. And I know that, again, in the States, we're coming up to Thanksgiving time, where for a lot of people, it's one time a year where you stop and think about this stuff or voice what I'm thankful for. You stop to even consider it. November or not, Thanksgiving or not, wherever you live, whoever you are, try and make a point. Maybe this is our homework for this week. Is find time every day. It can literally be 10 seconds. It can be one thing. So don't even tell yourself you don't have the time because you're lying. Don't lie to yourself. Not a good thing. Take 10 to 30 seconds every day for the next week and at least one thing you're thankful for. And you'll be amazed at how you'll start to see that more and more, like you said in your example, right? If I just make myself start doing it, it gets easier and easier to the point where I can't not see that stuff. And that, I think, is an amazing goal to shoot for.
I totally agree. And actually, you already segued us into a couple more. I'm going to throw tolerating your way in 1 second, because tolerating self, tolerating others. But if individuals are going, I don't even know where to start with the thankful piece, just as an example, literally when you wake up, it can be like, I'm so thankful I have breath in my lungs. When I go wake my kids up from school, I will just say a quick, I'm so thankful that they're breathing, that they're alive, that we're going to get to spend a morning together. Like, it's really simple practice is what Robin was describing. I think that a lot of people feel like they need these long lists. And it's just taking those little moments throughout the day. I'll even do dumb stuff like, I'm really thankful my pool heater is working, because I've had months where it hasn't been, so like I'll walk up to something where we should expect it to work, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful my lights turned on today. My heat's working, my air's working. Like, all those little things where we just take them for granted. And if we stop and thank everything, that starts your process. Okay. So tolerating, I'm going to flip that back your way, because you're such a middle ground. I love how you always bring things back to middle ground for us. And thank you. But where does your brain go with tolerating?
Ooh. By the way, the answers are always in the middle. For anyone who wants to know, if you want to make your life simple, stay away from the extremes. I don't care what they are. Stay away from the answer is in the middle 100% of the time. So it's a great place to learn to go to or live, which is pretty amazing. You can also then talk to anybody, because you're never so offending one side or the other. You're always kind of here seeing a little bit of each side. From an effective communication standpoint, it's a wonderful skill to develop as a skill, which is pretty cool from a communication standpoint too. So thank you for that. Also, a little coaching lesson, because I can't not. The coaching urge overtakes all the time. Okay. But moving on. So tolerations, there's a concept in coaching that's known as tolerations. And this idea that, what are you tolerating? What are you willing to tolerate? What are you not willing to tolerate? And it's not just with other people, which is where our minds often go, because anytime we're thinking of what's stressing us out, we usually look outside of ourselves, those people, this situation, it's the money, the traffic, the weather, the whatever, the stock market. We're always looking outside of ourselves. And with tolerations, understand that what you tolerate from you is the single most powerful choice you have. And one of the first things I'll have a talk with coaching clients, if it's needed, is, the first thing you need to do, and you're either going to do it or not. And that's going to determine whether you need more coaching or not, because you're not going to receive it if you don't do this one thing first. You have got to stop tolerating your own BS. In other words, you have got to stop lying to yourself. You have got to stop telling yourself things that have no basis in reality. You have got to check in with that self-talk. We put ourselves in things much more than most people do, but it's easy to look outside of ourselves and go, well, if I could just get a different job, let me get to a different environment, let me have a different boss, if I had different whatever, that's going to be my answer. And any of us could answer this. How often have you thought that, made a change, and it hasn't changed anything? Right? You're just going from one situation to another, one type of person to another of that type of person. That happens often. And the reason that happens is because we don't actually check in with some things that we have a lot of control over that we don't ever think about. And this is based in tolerations. So one of the things that would be really cool to do and would serve you absolutely, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what level of anything you are, sit back. And I want you to really think about, what are some things that you yourself do that if you saw somebody else, if you saw a friend doing them, you would call them out on immediately? It's so glaringly obvious. What would you call someone else out for doing that's something you do? That's an example of, how do I figure out what I need to stop tolerating in myself if I want to move on? So, and sometimes you can just start to listen to what you say, because we often find the things in other people that we're actually doing. What is it? There's all kinds of psychology around the things that bother us most about other people are often things we do that we do not have an awareness that we do. And so start paying attention to the things in others that you go, why would you put up with that? Why wouldn't you say this to that person? Why don't you just go do this? And then sit back and go, when do I do that stuff and I don't call myself out on it? That is huge, because the idea here is the more you can put yourself in a place of choice, the more in control of your life you are. And so with tolerations, the idea is, if I keep saying one thing, but everything I'm doing is the opposite of this, it's never going to get me that. I either need to stop saying I want this because I'm lying, or start doing the things that get me here. Right? It reminds me of the parents that say, do as I say, not as I do. Don't do that with yourself. It's ridiculous. And it's, I'll get on a total soapbox with.
I know. Oh.
We've all said, and that way too many people still say, and then wonder why their kids don't do what they want them to do. But different discussion for a different day. It's call your BS out, call your own stuff out. And that's what I mean by stop lying to yourself, stop putting yourselves in positions and then complaining about the positions. Stop doing those things. And I hate to say it, either put up or shut up. Do it or don't do it. But if you're not going to do it, stop talking about it until you're ready. And that's okay to do. But you can't have it both ways. And if you're constantly doing this and constantly saying this, and these are opposite things, one of these things has to go. And that's where you have that moment of choice to go, what am I going to tolerate anymore from myself and what am I not? That's empowering.
It is.
What do you think about tolerations?
Oh, man. I feel like you nailed it. This is a moment of, we're going to have an episode of truth. Like, I feel like speaking truth over everyone.
Another T.
It is another T. I feel like people need to maybe hear from us from more of a, like, this is real, like your tolerating is real. It is a put up, or like, quit saying it if you're not going to work towards it. And then I was thinking time was our other T. And this is going to come across a little bit like some hard truth as well. But I read this quote recently, or it was like a whole saying where it was saying, instead of saying, I don't have time, instead you insert, it's not a priority. So like, for example, if I'm not working on my growth because, instead of saying because I don't have time, you'd say because it's not a priority. I didn't make it to the gym today because it's not a priority. I didn't eat healthy today because it's not a priority. And I feel like it's going to make some people cringe a little bit to hear it that way. Like, it kind of makes me cringe saying it out loud, because my real me with coaching, and I feel like Robin's like this too, we're supportive. Like, we're exactly, what do you need? How can we help you to get there? But I think this is one of those things in the quiet of your own day, where if you can hear yourself going, I just do not have time to do that. If you can just flip it for a second and really say, is it a priority? Because if it is a priority, this is kind of back to Robin's, if I'm saying this, if I'm saying it's a priority, but yet I always find this other excuse for it. Why are those two things? And man, this goes deep. This is deeper than just saying, just do it. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and just make it happen. Like, we started to talk about this on our last session, but we have these schemas, these things that are built into us since birth, since our environments, since, like, we have reasons why we believe things, why we say things, why we act the way we do. And sometimes if you feel, here's another homework assignment, if you feel like you can understand what Robin and I are talking about as far as my language is not matching up with my actions, something is incongruent, we might need a professional to help us unpack that and understand what to do with that incongruency. Because if it was that easy, that if we could say, I know what to do, I just need to do it, then we'd all be doing it. We'd all be at the gym. We'd all be grocery shopping. We'd all be cooking. Like, it's not that easy. And that's why coaching is a beautiful thing. But again, first level is always insight. And so again, to be able to say, instead of saying, I don't have time for, insert, it's not a priority, where does that leave you and make you feel? Can you think of some examples with that off the top of your head there, Robin?
Sure. And, I want to take something you said also, Lindsay, a lot of, again, as somebody who works a lot with confidence and self-talk and communication, one of the things that's really important that you hit on is your words matter. And your choice of words matter. And you brought in how it makes you feel. And I want you just to think about this. Try this for a moment. I'm going to say these two things, and just as soon as I say them, think about how they make you feel, right? And I'll use your example, Lindsay. I don't have the time today. Versus, I'm going to choose to do that tomorrow. Now, the first one, for a moment, probably made you feel like a victim because it's a burden. I don't have the time, which means I'm lacking, which means, oh my God, I have so much to do. I have a billion things. And it takes us into this spiral of, oh, I don't have any control. But if you simply change your words to putting yourself in a place of choice, I'm choosing to do that tomorrow, you just took total control. It's a completely different feel. Now, the reality is with both of them, you're not going to do them today. You're probably going to try and do them tomorrow. But just the words you choose can completely change how you feel. And this is, again, one of those things from an effective communication standpoint, and a self-talk standpoint, we are completely unaware that we talk like that first example all the time. You know, even when we say things like, I have to do that, right? No, you're choosing to do that, right? Well, no, you can't say that. I have to go to work today to pay the bills. No, you're choosing to go to work so you can get money to pay the bills. Just changing that one word literally changes the feel because it puts you in a place of control. It puts you in a place of choice, because if you don't want to choose that anymore, you can go choose something else. As opposed to if you have to do that, you have no control. People are making you do what you need to do. The situations are the same. Your word makes one feel like you are nothing and one feel like, I got this. Yeah. And so start to pay attention to the words you use, the words you think, your self-talk, because I guarantee you will be amazed when you start to pay attention and manage this conversation in your own head and realize if this script that you keep reading isn't working for you, rewrite the script. You're the author of it. Change your words and you change your life, because those thoughts create feelings. Those feelings create behaviors. What's happening with this conversation up here is going to determine what you do, how you feel, and what you get. So be really aware of your words, because they are so powerful. And it's one of the most simple things to shift that can instantly take your feeling from here to here, to feeling out of control to in control, to feeling I have no power to I've got some power and choice. That's a game changer, just shifting those words. And, you know, again, with time is one of the biggest ones, because we're always telling ourselves, we wish we had more time. I wish there were 8 days in a week. I wish I had 26 hours in a day. You know, all those things that we say. The interesting thing is, and again, the initial response most of us give to what I'm about to say is getting defensive and deflecting, right? Well, you don't have as much to do as me. Well, you don't, you know, it's always that. We have like 7 homework assignments already, Lindsay, with this episode, but another one might be, if this serves you, or if you want to just be curious, because I guarantee doing this, you will have an amazing aha moment. You'll have epiphanies, I guarantee. Literally take a day and pay attention to your time. And I don't just mean, oh, I had this meeting on the calendar and then I did this and I did this. I'm not talking about your calendar. I'm literally talking about, and there are apps that do this, that will do this for you. So go find one of those free apps. You can just Google it and it will literally, every time you're on a device, it will tell you exactly what you're doing, right? If you go do something, you can say, I went to the bathroom. I went to grab coffee. I did this. I had a conversation for 20 minutes with this person. You can add things, but it will capture most of it for you. You will have your mind blown at where your time goes every day and how much time you actually have that you give to things that have no purpose for you. And so if you have things you want to give your time to, you don't need more time. What you need to do is look at where you're giving away time that you don't need to be, and then grab that time and put it here. You have all the time you need. And so I could talk about this for days, Lindsay. So I need to toss
Oh, no, I agree. My brain goes everywhere with this. One of the things with time, as you were starting to say it, I think it's like this moment that we can let ourselves off the hook for a second. It feels good to say I don't have time, whether we realize it does or not, because now I don't have to go do that action that I'm telling myself I want, but I have a reason why I can't go do it, when it really is, it is still a choice. And when I think about how people fill their day, what I wanted to point out with this is sometimes areas that we fill a time slot with, we think like has to be part of our day. So this is a dumb example, but TV at night, that I don't think people realize how much time can be sucked up in television time. If you've ever pulled the TV out of your life for a little bit, it's interesting to see how much time comes back in. And I feel that way for some people with social media, or take your phone away from you. And now all of a sudden there's time to read, which I hear a lot of people say, I wish I had time to read, or there's time to call that friend. I don't know. So it's just, I love your idea of really tracking it. Utilize the app, utilize good, just pen to paper, however you want to do it, but get some of that time back. Don't let social media have it. Don't let TV have it. They have everything set up nowadays where it's like, I mean, I literally felt this way. The second an episode ends, it's like, I've got to push play and get to the next one because of how they're purposefully set up. And it takes a lot of willpower to shut that TV off. So sometimes it's like, just don't start it in the first place if you're seeking to have some of that time back. I don't know. Time's a tough one, I think.
And you know what, Lindsay? Based on what you just said too, I have another T. Can I throw in just really quickly?
Please, yeah.
Timers. Use them.
Yes.
So here's the thing too. It's not that you have to give up doing things that you truly enjoy doing, right? If you come home and you want to watch that episode or two of the show that you're streaming, right? Then allow yourself to do that. The problem is, right, what do? We sit there and we watch a third one and a fourth one. And we extend that time, right? Or if I'm on Instagram and I'm looking at stuff, you don't just go onto social media to look at something and then come off. You go into social media to look at something and you get sucked in, and a half hour later, you're like, okay, what do I got to put this away.
Yeah.
Right. So think about this T of timers. Use them. We all have this in our hand, right? All the time. Every one of them has a timer, a stopwatch on them. Go ahead and set little notifications for you so that I'm going to go look at my social media for 15 minutes. Give yourself permission to do it. And when that timer dings, turn it off and go do the next thing, right? If I'm going to watch an episode of my show tonight, because that's how I unwind, watch the episode. When the timer is off, when it's done, get up, turn the TV off and get up, right? If I'm going to go do something, right? Set a timer, right? I don't have time for this. Yes, you do. You have 5 minutes. You don't have an hour, but you have 5 minutes. Set a timer for 5 minutes, right? I need to complain about something. There's something I do with clients all the time called the vent clock. Use your vent clock. Go ahead. If you need to complain, don't bring it in the room and spend 20 minutes complaining to everybody and letting them complain, which takes another 20 minutes. And oh my goodness, set your vent clock to like 3 minutes, hit it and go. Vent, complain, get it all out. Say what you want to say, of course, outside of the room. And then when the timer goes off, you're done. Now you got to go in and find a solution. Now you got to go in and have a conversation. How do we move forward?
Yes.
That's it. So use timers for everything. And you will be amazed at how much time you instantly find, just because it's not draining out a little bit here and here where your time's always leaking. It'll tighten it up a bit.
It will. And last little tidbit, and then I'll really be done with this. But most of us have Alexas or Echoes sitting places within our home. Like, so even as you walk through the kitchen, hey, Alexa, set my timer for an hour, because I think sometimes even the action of having to type in something could be enough for somebody like, I'm not doing it. But on your watch or on your timer, use them. Use them.
Google.
Yep.
Let me know when 10 minutes is up.
Yes.
I just said it and it came on. See, that's
how I was like, what do you need?
It just said timer is running for 10 minutes starting. Look at that. I said it.
So
it
easy.
That's literally how easy it is. You have a personal assistant with you 24/7. If you're not using that personal assistant to keep you on track and get
Yes.
everything you want done effectively and efficiently, you're missing an opportunity to find a ton of time every day in your life.
Yep. 100% agree. So good. Man, I feel like we've hopefully spoken a lot of truth over everybody today.
And you know what?
Leave,
I'd love to throw one more back at you. I know we're at our time that we like to stop
yeah.
at, but I'd love you to just talk for a couple minutes, Lindsay, about this idea of to gather.
Yes. Which comes back to getting some of our time back. If anybody follows me at all on my podcast, Direction Not Perfection, I talk a lot about, I really like this woman. Her name's Jennifer Zumbiel, and she has a company called To Gather Moments. And she's got a sticker game where if you sit at the kitchen table all together, you gather together, then you are all of a sudden conversating, you're communicating with those around you. And man, it just opens up this world of, I challenge everyone to do this. When you sit together, and it doesn't have to, for some people, it can't be a kitchen table. It can be in the car. It can like going to a soccer practice. It could be a walk and talk. It could be a date night. Like, and she even has different games for each one. But I just thought it was important because I think when our time comes back purposefully for us and we're taking back control of it, now we can be intentional about what we put back into it. So you think about doing some communication games with kiddos in the car or a spouse out, your world just starts to like right itself a little bit. It's amazing when we take our time back, feel control. You mentioned power earlier, that we're choosing to do what we're doing throughout our day. I mean, I dare you to try any of this and then lay your head down at the end of the evening and tell me that you don't feel so much better about your day because your day didn't control you. So kind of off topic, but To Gather Moments, she has a podcast called Families That Stick Together. But that was my other T, was to gather moments, purposeful, intentional moments, so that we are proud of ourselves at the end of the day.
I love it. And nothing's off topic because the thing that always everything we talk about comes back to is you're allowed to choose. But in order to do that, you have to be intentional, you have to be deliberate, and those are the things that put you in control. And so
Yes.
all of these things all have that as a common denominator. And so there are times we feel out of control, but what you do need to know with all of these things that we talk about every week is you have more control than you think,
Mhm.
and you have more control than you're telling yourself. And it doesn't take a whole lot. Sometimes it takes grabbing one little thing and going, I never thought about it that way, or I never
Yeah.
looked at that, or, oh, that's an interesting tip or tool. Let me try that. Try is another T. Don't try, do. Do or do not do, Yoda. Stop trying. Go do things, because only when you do them are you able to go, wow, that worked for me or it didn't.
Right.
And people oftentimes say that'll never work. But if you ask, have they ever tried it? The answer is no, because if they tried it, you already know it works. That's how you know they didn't try it, right? So try some of these things, do them, pick one and run with it. And you will be amazed at how little tiny things can have a huge impact for you if you're just willing to show up and do them.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
really
Oh,
that common denominator. So
so good.
Lindsay,
Yes.
I'm thankful for you and our time together.
Right back at
And
you.
yeah,
Yes.
we're on you next. And then we've got some of the, the XYZ. So we need to start thinking these next few weeks.
I know.
Between now and the end.
It's about to get good.
It is. It's about to get creative. We'll
Yeah.
definitely go there. So, all right. Well, until next time, thank you,
Okay.
audience. Hope you got something good out of it. Lindsay, go.
Agreed. And I just quickly wanted to throw this out. I'm running a November accountability group. If it's time for you to do instead of try, November 7th through the 11th. It's just $20. You jump in and you set intentions or goals, however you want to say it. We hold each other accountable every day. And then we assess how it went and see if we can carry that momentum through the whole month of November. And then we do it again in December, get us through these holiday months with intentions. Okay. I don't want to pop out in January going, man, I'm behind the 8 ball. I want all of us to feel like I've already been working on this. I'm 2 months in. So Okay. That's
And
where I
that's
want
awesome that you're doing that, because the missing piece, 99% of the time as a coach, we realize the missing piece is you kept trying to do all this stuff on your own.
Yeah.
And the reality is, no matter how good you are, to be able to have a third party looking in going, did you notice this? Are you aware of that? Here's another way to think of that, or do this. That is absolutely priceless. And until you have that, regardless of what it is, whether you hire a coach or take a class, accountability groups, phenomenal. Jump into Lindsay's group if that's of interest to you. Even if it's a friend or an online partner, find somebody to be that person. And if you don't want to spend a lot of time because you don't want to prioritize that, but you want it, Lindsay just gave you an easy way to do it. So go on and pop into there and boom, you got an accountability partner like that.
Yes. So let's just throw out our websites. You can come sign up for that on my website at healthaccountabilitycoach.com. And Robin?
You can find me, follow me, or connect with me on LinkedIn anytime if I can be of value. You can also get me through my website, robinjsachs.com. Lots of free videos, free articles, all kinds of good stuff. You can learn a ton, and you can also work with me if that's something of interest.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. And Robin, as always, thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Have an awesome day.